The Niger Delta has long struggled with inadequate access to high-quality seeds for vital crops like palm oil, cassava, and cocoa. This challenge has significantly limited agricultural productivity and rural livelihoods. Access to quality seeds has been a long-standing challenge for farmers in the Niger Delta, limiting productivity across key crops like palm oil, cocoa, and cassava. PIND recognized this gap and introduced the Market Systems Development MSD approach to create sustainable solutions for farmers.
PIND, like you know, started off with economic opportunities assessment of the Niger Delta, and from those we found various agricultural value chain sectors, palm oil, cassava, aquaculture, and based on those we've had interventions. But basically what PIND has done quite successfully is actually building support systems across the sectors. Over time, we extended to the cocoa sector in 2018. From our business linkages initiative, we also then evolved into having interventions in poultry, in the poultry sector. PIND's focus was on building a strong support system so that farmers within those value chains could have access to inputs, information that they require, and of course, linkages to markets so they could sell their outputs. But because PIND uses a market systems development approach, we do not necessarily work directly with these farmers, but we work with those, what we call support systems, that ensures that farmers can have access to all that they require. So we work with business development service providers, work with technical service providers, we work with financial institutions, we work with research institutions, input dealers and input producers to be able to come up with models, effective models that are scalable, and we are able to show these market actors, we call them market actors or market players, show them the opportunities that exist. Yes, of course, it starts from constraints. What are the constraints? Farmers' yields are low. What are the constraints? Farmers don't have access to finance. What are the constraints? Farmers are not effectively utilizing inputs. They don't have the right information. But how do you address this in a way that is sustainable?
To address this challenge, PIND adopted a Market Systems Development MSD approach. By working with key stakeholders, PIND created sustainable solutions to improve seed access for smallholder farmers.
That led into us having these partnerships and agreements with Crane to say, you know what, these seeds are good. They shouldn't just be here in the research institutes. Farmers need to have access to it. Whereas research institutes like IIT, Umodike, as the NRCRI, they had already researched and come up with new varieties of seed, but these were not coming out. So there was still a big gap, around that space.
The palm oil sector in the Niger Delta is plagued by low productivity due to poor seed varieties. Many farmers rely on the inferior Dura variety, which yields significantly less oil than the improved Tenera variety. PIND's interventions focused on raising awareness and improving access to high-quality Tenera seeds through partnerships with seedling producers.
Seed company has a vested interest to see that farmers have access to quality seeds, because by so doing, farmers will demand more and he makes money. So what we do is to show them how can you embed training, for instance, as part of a promotional strategy to ensure that farmers have seeds. How can we work with the research institutes to be able to, come up with improved varieties of seeds, if we are talking of seeds. If it's technology, how do we work with fabricators to produce or fabricate more efficient technologies? If I could take one example in the palm oil sector, for instance, where we worked with NIFO to be able to promote the SSP or small scale processing equipment such that farmers can actually increase the extraction rate of oil, fresh fruit bunches, from around 9% on the average, something around 16%. So how do you work with a research institute to build local fabricators who can then mass produce this technology and then have farmers be able to buy or to take their produce to processors who have the technology.
So all this informed why PIND had to utilize the market systems approach, because it was about sustainable impact and about scale. So bringing that into the seed system, we had to understand what the issues really were around seeds. Is it a problem of availability? Is it a problem of affordability? Or a problem of usage about information? So all these things came into play as we began to understand the seed system for the farmers and in the different sectors that we're working in. We applied that in cocoa, we applied that in palm oil, we applied that in cassava, even in aquaculture. Through those partnerships, first it was a demand and supply thing. We had to work with farmers through the different training programs to make them see the benefits of investing in good seeds.
PIND helped me to reach out to farmers. Actually, they broadened my scope to reach out to them directly, because most of the times when I go for their workshops, I tend to meet with nursery operators, and we had hybrids. That didn't change, but the marketing approach changed. It actually improved greatly, because I had more nursery operators coming in to buy seeds. I had more farmers calling in to inquire about my seeds.
In the cocoa sector, productivity had declined over the years due to aging plantations and the use of old seed varieties. Through partnerships with the Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, Crane, PIND introduced new, improved cocoa varieties to revitalize cocoa farming in the Niger Delta.
We found that within the cocoa value chain, there was a lot of potential that was being missed.
In cocoa, for instance, we realized that farmers had plantations of over 40, 50, 60 hectares. These plantations were already declining in terms of yield, but farmers were not willing to make any adjustment or changes. And then going back to the research institute, when we had these conversations with them, we realized that they had introduced new varieties that were disease resistant, flood resistant, varieties that were high yielding, early maturing, but farmers were not willing to make the necessary investment to purchase the seeds or plant it in their farm. Yes, we don't expect cocoa farmers to just cut off their plantations and then bring in new seeds, no. Maybe just a portion of their farms get these seeds, and then you could see cocoa seeds that were already fruiting in 3 years. And then we introduce to them mixed cropping. Before your crop gets to maturity, you're already having economic value from your land. And as they began to see some of these changes, they realized that, oh, it is doable. These seeds are actually early yielding, and the yields coming from it is higher than what I'm used to. And what these varieties were suffering from diseases, these ones are more resistant to the kind of diseases affecting. So some of these benefits they began to see.
Before getting access to improved seed through PIND, we have been having a lot of challenges. And one of the challenges we have is poor yield production, because we have been used to the local variety. We came in contact with PIND 2 years ago, and we were able to assess the improved TCC series, at which we just planted. I think that was last year. So we hope to see the productivity when it starts bearing. So as soon as we see them, we can be able to assess to know the level of production. But by the level of growth, the TCC series is coming up, it assumed to me that it's something that is going to produce more compared to the old varieties, which is local amazing.
And for the first time, PIND introduced a model to Crane, and that partnership led to the certification of what we call nursery operators. So that partnership with Crane led to building capacity of private nursery operators that were located in strategic places.
Access to high quality seeds. Most of these seeds are being developed and improved by these research institutes. But however, they are being lying in the shelves. In order for farmers to access these seeds, it has to go through seed companies and the others. But over time, we have a situation whereby the seed and seedlings actually come from the West, Ibadan, and the rest from IITA. but they lose their potency and the viability along the way. Because let's example, if you are shipping it from Ibadan and you got stuck somewhere around Edo because of bad road and other things, already the viability and the potency of that seed is declining. So the major problem is actually the access to high quality seed bodies. So the issue is us now coming in to address how does this become available and accessible and affordable to these farmers. So like we said in the market system, you have cluster of farmers here and there. But what we intended doing under the market system is that what are the constraints surrounding the access of this by this cluster of farmers? Our intervention now is directly targeting the system, how to fix the system to ensure that these systems are working efficiently and effectively to ensure that these seedlings have reached the farmers.
Cassava is one of Nigeria's most important crops, but many farmers rely on outdated, low-yielding varieties. PIND's Cassava Seeds Entrepreneurs CSE program worked with partners like the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture IITA to introduce high-yielding, disease-resistant varieties to smallholder farmers.
Nigeria is the largest cassava growing country in the world. Currently, we are about 63 million tons per annum. We were only focused on the food markets. In fact, what we had was not enough for us to consume. Why? Irrespective of the fact that we were the highest producing cassava country. The reason was because then we were having between 8 to 12 tons yield per hectare in our cassava farms. Whereas countries like Thailand then were already at almost 30 to 40 tons per hectare. So you could see the disparity. What was causing it? People were still used to the traditional old variety of seeds that we had. So there was still a big gap, around that space. Again, we had to do that serious partnerships with key stakeholders who had the vested interest as well in the industries and in those sectors. And one of the things we did was do a practical demonstration. Let people see that if I make investments in these seeds, in the long run, I am better off for it.
So the challenges I was actually facing before I met PIND, challenges of linkage, challenges of finance and so on, not knowing what to do. Initially, I was focusing on my agro-dealing business.
Before gaining access to improved seed through PIND, we have been having a lot of challenges. And one of the challenges we have is poor yield production, because we have been used to the local variety.
I started working with PIND. I started expanding to the extent now I am like a household name, the cassava doctor.
We're beginning to see farmers who are gradually phasing off the old trees, investing in the new ones, getting better yields. We have seen that mindset shift. And remember, our work is about changing their knowledge, their attitude, and their practices. So we are seeing it translate now into their practice.
When PIND came in, there was a kind of push. There was, I knew that I hadn't done enough because a lot have changed when it comes to market level. It now opened to me that I had not just the nursery operator, but I had the whole country to supply seeds. So I had to move up my production level.
The sales of cassava stems and then improve the seed has improved my business over 95%. Before now, I don't even sell seedlings. All I was doing was selling herbicide. But now I supply cassava seedlings, improved stems to all the riverine areas within Bayelsa and also within Delta State.
Through its interventions in the palm oil sector, cocoa and cassava sectors, PIND has made significant progress in bridging the gap in seed access for farmers in the Niger Delta by empowering local entrepreneurs and farmers. We have seen remarkable improvements in productivity and income generation, but the journey continues.